The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community of doom.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
You've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population. This place absolutely outshines it.
Alrighty. It's Thursday, the 12th day of March, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BEDC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and Big Love to Hot 107.5, ensuring we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling today? It's Friday, Junior. It's the day before many of you's favorite day of the week. Yeah, it's Thursday. You've almost made it, folks. You've almost made it. How's everyone feeling today, though? How's everyone feeling? Has it been a great week for you? Are you feeling like, you know what? Nearly there, but not quite. We had an interesting conversation yesterday. A lot of interesting things were discussed. I wish we had more time, but thanks to Judith, I think her name's Judith Welch, we'll be continuing conversations very soon. So stick with us. We're going to try to keep the convos going so that everyone knows that, if you're unable to comment live with us, we'll engage with you throughout after the show. So we're working on that for you. But happy Thursday to everyone, and thanks for rocking with us. Greetings to you. And thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Ray Lambert from the BEDC. We're going to be discussing the urban development in action for Bermuda. The daily play is going to be a Name That Place today. Yeah, Name That Place. And don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to improve our community. Alrighty, so questions of the morning. What are your thoughts on the Gaming Commission? And do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Yeah, that's what we're talking about this morning. Our friends at the Royal Gazette had a report recently. Yeah, and basically the question is Bermuda's casino dream over? For years now, Bermuda has talked about building a casino gaming industry. It was supposed to bring new jobs, attract tourists, and create another economic pillar for the island. But nearly a decade after legislation was first passed, Bermuda still doesn't have a functioning casino. Now, the premier is saying something that many people suspected for a long time. There may simply not be enough interest to make the industry viable. During the budget debate in the House of Assembly, Premier David Burt said feedback from commercial banks and the private sector suggests there is not enough demand or appetite for a gaming sector in Bermuda. In other words, the businesses and financial institutions that would need to support casinos aren't convinced the market is there. Despite that, the Bermuda Gaming Commission will still receive $800,000 in funding in the upcoming budget, even though the island still has no operational casinos. Opposition MPs questioned why the commission should continue to exist if the industry, it regulates, hasn't materialized. And that raises an important question. Was casino gaming ever realistic for Bermuda, or was it a policy that sounded good politically but never made sense economically? The government has argued that things could change if Vermont Southampton redevelopment moves forward, since the property holds a casino license and could potentially revive interest. But after nearly 10 years of delays, regulatory changes, and millions spent on oversight bodies, many people are wondering if Bermuda should simply move on. Because the real question now is not whether casinos could work. The real question is whether Bermuda should keep investing time and money into an industry that still hasn't arrived. Folks, this is some conversation. This is some conversation. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Gaming Commission itself? And do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Like, do you think it's still worth it for us to pursue it? It's after all these years, Bermuda still doesn't have a casino. Like, there's no operational casino. No casino has opened to date. And I'm not saying that people who are part of the Gaming Commission are doing nothing and making money, but there's still no operational casino. The Gaming Commission, despite there being no operational casino, yet the Gaming Commission is still receiving $800,000 this year. That seems like a magic number of giveaways. Remember the guy, what was his name? Anthony somebody? The record producer guy or whatever. And I agree with the opposition to question whether the regulator should continue if the industry isn't moving forward. Because at this point, it just seems like we're throwing taxpayer dollars away. Like, we're giving our taxpayer dollars away. I encourage the opposition to stay on this. Now, people have suggested for ages that the banks probably aren't for this. And based on the feedback from the premier, that would seem to be true, that banking is a major obstacle. There's insufficient demand for a viable gaming industry. Fortunately or unfortunately, casinos require banking partners to process transactions, and this has been a major barrier. Now, I thought that the hotel that opened on St. George's, they were going to have a casino, at least that's what I was told. Haven't seen that come to fruition. Now it seems like all hopes are being tied to Fairmont Southampton. With it being said that the redevelopment could potentially revive casino plans because the property already has a casino license. Well, don't existing properties have casino license? But that project itself has faced years of delays already. Let's look. It's been nearly a decade of delays, folks. The gaming industry has faced multiple obstacles: regulatory changes, investor withdrawals, banking concerns, questions about market demand. A bigger policy question should probably be, A, continue pursuing a casino industry, or B, accept that the model just won't work in Bermuda. Your taxpaying dollars, folks. What are your thoughts on the Gaming Commission, and do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? That's your daily discussion, brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Let's take it over to you, see how you feel. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, do we really need a casino? I mean, we've seen how casinos have benefited certain jurisdictions. I'm not going to say we don't, but after all these years, is it really worth pursuing still? Is the question to me. Sean Smith says, good morning, TDH family. Former Premier Alex Scott killed that industry before it really got started. Was he in charge when, because remember, some of the restaurants, I know the beach on Front Street, Bermuda Bistro, used to have those machines. I think Robin Hood had machines. I could be wrong. I know a few places had machines, but was he the premier that stopped that? That's where I learned to play blackjack, man. I never lost. I know they say the house always wins, but I used to play a little blackjack on those things. But is that what you're referring to, Sean Smith? Audience, let us know, though. What are your thoughts? Again, you've heard about the Gaming Commission getting another $800,000 this year. We still, after a decade, nearly a decade after legislation was passed, have no operating casinos. There's concerns from the banking sector that there's no appetite for it. There are, businesses and organizations with casino licenses that have not moved forward. What are your thoughts on the Gaming Commission itself? Some people may say, what are they regulating? Maybe they regulate Crown and Anchor, right? But also, do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Do you believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Kenton Trott says, I don't think gaming is going anywhere. Let's put it to bed. Okay. He goes on to say, the only people that have benefited are those working for the Gaming Commission who are getting a paycheck. From the outside, it seems that way. It's hard to argue with Kenton on that. It's really hard to argue with Kenton on that. It really seems that way from the outside looking in, audience. That's unfortunate. But when you think about, again, I'm sure they do work. I don't want to believe, maybe this is me being naive, but I don't want to believe that anyone is collecting a paycheck and doing absolutely nothing according to what they're supposed to do for their job when they're making that kind of money. I know you're saying, Jamal, don't be so silly. I know. But I would hope that there's a ton of research being done and papers being shared or policies with the government as to how to either move forward or how to, in the words of Kenton Trott, put it to bed. But then we ask ourselves, why would those who are making good money from this want to put it to bed? This is a conversation that I feel like our entire community needs to be aware of and a part of. How many people, it's interesting with the racket guy that got paid $800,000 then skipped the island. Everyone talks about that. But so few people talk about this unless it's in the news. And this is what I speak about when I talk about holding the government accountable. See, the government knows that we're emotional beings. And because we're emotional beings, we perform for a short bit of time. And then we just go back to whatever it is that we care about most in life, which chances are isn't politics, policies, or things that impact us all. Everyone you know should have access to these conversations for that reason. This is something that, Bermudians are struggling. Bermudians are struggling. But we've got $800,000 to keep giving to an industry that some will say does not even exist. If you're just tuning in, this is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. We are discussing that of a few key points. There's still no operational casino in Bermuda, yet the Gaming Commission is set to receive about $800,000 this year. Banking, according to the Premier, is a major obstacle. Government's hopes for the casino industry are tied to Fairmount Southampton. It's been about a decade of delays, yet we're still, I don't know if we can even use the word investing, but we're still throwing money at something that has not come to fruition after nearly a decade. So again, audience, what are your thoughts on the Gaming Commission? And do you, just a yes or no, do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Let's go back to the audience. Sean Smith says, remember the owner of the beach on Front Street said how the slot machine was keeping his people employed during the softer months. I mean, I believe it. And I believe they probably lost a lot of money when those slot machines were gone. Kenton Trott says, I feel for St. Regis. They built a beautiful casino that is sitting empty. See, I didn't even know they built one. And why is it sitting empty? Oh, because the banks don't feel there's an appetite for it. Kenton Trott said, no disrespect at all intended towards the Gaming Commission staff. I know some, and they are good people. I mean, I don't think being honest and direct is disrespectful if it's based on facts and it's not personal, right? I don't think it's personal. I think on the surface, we see that a committee, a commission, is being paid a lot of money. On the outside, we're questioning for what? I think that's fair. 9/11 Island Girl says, a decade in and no progress. Scrap it. Even if it began, the biggest problem would be the management of it. We've wasted millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money. Accountability of it is necessary. No, I agree. I completely agree. It's not a good look. And I just don't understand why people, you know what's crazy? And again, it's not that I disagree with people responding to the airport the way they did. I'm not going to tell people what to march for and what not to vote for. Not to march for. But it's incredible to me. It's absolutely incredible to me that we haven't reacted the same with something like this. That we're not demanding answers for something like this as a collective. It's amazing to me. This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. We've also got 9/11 Island Girl goes on to say $800,000 given to the man with the gold paintbrush, $800,000 given to the Atlanta guy for the music studio, $800,000 for the gaming fiasco. See a pattern? It's like 800,000 is that magic number for the government to give away, huh? It's a sickening pattern if we think about it. And it's up to each and every one of us to hold the government accountable for this stuff. This is not about disliking individuals or hating people. This is about receiving answers. We don't have money to be thrown away. We've got people who can't find housing. We've got people who can't eat. They don't have, the basic necessities. And here we are throwing away money like we have it. And we don't. So how do we hold them accountable? But yes or no, do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Yes or no? Sean Smith says, my understanding is they are now overseeing the betting halls. Yeah, like bingo. I think we read something about that not long ago, bingo and stuff. But 800,000? Sean Smith says, what are the hoteliers that were promised license are saying? I do wonder. I absolutely do wonder. A hotel that may have set up shop with that in mind, thinking it was going to be some income. I wonder. Renee Sherlin says, it's been years since this authority first opened. How many commissioners have they had? Because I can clearly remember meeting with a certain commissioner years ago. The expense of operations for what? For what? These are fair questions, audience. WKD Lama says, Vegas is dead. I don't think there's a demand for it. I don't think it is worth it. Well, see, Vegas is an interesting one, though, right? Vegas is dead because for a few reasons. One, Vegas was always inexpensive to go and experience. And then they added these expensive restaurants and the hotels started charging more. Vegas was a place where many people would remember it for being able to go and get a reasonably priced hotel because the hotels made their money from their slots, the casinos. Then it changed. But also keep in mind who a lot of people, where a lot of people were from that were heading to Vegas. They were from overseas. I mean, you'd go there and you'd see Chinese in hundreds, if not thousands. But over the last 2 years, they've been suffering. And a lot has to do with also the travel bans, but not just travel bans, but people not feeling welcomed entering the United States of America. But your point, I mean, I don't even think it's about Vegas being dead. I think it's about Bermuda missing that boat. Everywhere has a casino now. Even the smallest towns in America have added casinos. I've said this when I was working in Bermuda tourism, 2012 to 2018. I said, I think Bermuda missed that boat. And I'm not trying to praise the Honorable former Premier Ewart Brown, but I mean, GPS, casino gaming. And I know some people may say, well, that's because he wanted to have a, kickback or something. I don't know if that's true. That's what people have said. Whether true or not, they were both rejected. And now, all of a sudden, Bermuda wants to push forward for something that, according to some, there's no appetite for. Dr. Patricia Chapman says, agreed, Jamal. No to very little reaction from the taxpayer. Why? Audience, seriously, I'm flabbergasted. Can anyone tell me why Bermudians are not more passionate or marching or speaking up about this? I don't get it. I don't speak on things on this show to rile people up. I speak about it like for informational and engagement purposes and to help resolve the issues. My hope is that you take these conversations, take it to your MP and say, look, this gaming commission, I saw a friend the other day and he was on social media looking for housing. If we can give 800,000 away to some folks, I'm sure we can help those who have given so much to Bermuda find proper housing. Sometimes it comes down to priorities, folks. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, I bet my boy a couple months ago that we will never see a casino. Is that bet regulated by the Bermuda Gaming Commission? I see what you did there, Charles. I love that. Folks, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone you know has access to this community conversation. Before we give thanks to Titan Express and Secure, just answer this question, yes or no, right? Do you believe Bermuda should pursue a casino industry? Do you still believe Bermuda should pursue, just a yes or no? Do you still believe Bermuda should pursue a casino gaming industry? Just a yes or no, audience. 911 Island Girl says, many don't speak up because they are fearful of being blackballed, denied opportunities, but also don't read to stay informed. I've heard this whole thing about being blackballed. I've spoken up my entire adulthood, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say it hasn't cost opportunities. I am black, like very dark skin. I speak out. I say unpopular things. I vouch for unpopular perspectives. Not because I want to be different, but because I truly don't believe that a lot of norms in society are to our benefit. I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. But in saying that, if our ancestors all thought like we do, I don't want to lose this opportunity. I don't want to lose that. And we'd still be enslaved. And what I don't think people realize is by not speaking up and being fearful of losing opportunities and having to pay that mortgage, you're actually a modern day slave. Oh, I know that hurts. I know that hurts. But as a friend of mine said to me last night, they don't realize they're enslaved. When someone has that kind of economic control over you, you are enslaved. When you are afraid to speak up or speak out because of what others may do to you, you're enslaved. I know it hurts. Nobody wants to be called that. But you are enslaved. When you're scared that a bank is going to take away a house from you because you spoke out, you're enslaved. Beyonce made you believe you were independent for years. It's a lie. It's a lie. People have made you believe that when you buy a home, even on a 30-year mortgage, that you are free, that you own nothing. The bank owns you. When you have to show up to work every day to be away from your loved ones and family. See, I'm going to say this real quickly. This has nothing to do with the conversation, but it does. Until we understand that the best system was a barter system, then we will remain enslaved and we won't speak out. And the barter system, it's very simple. Instead of giving up your time for things, you're trading goods or services. So you have a cow and I want milk from your cow. Okay, I'm going to provide you with containers so that you can service people who need milk for their cow, from your cow. That's a barter system. And you help each other to build each other's legacies and homes and paint and renovate. But we don't live by a barter system because everyone wants more than what their neighbor has, or thinks they're better than the next person living next door to them. So we enslave ourselves, we allow ourselves to be economically enslaved so that we can have material things to impress people who we don't like or they don't like us. And therefore, we don't speak up about things that we should speak up about in fear of losing the material possessions. I'm sorry. I'm going to I'll leave you alone. I did ask, do you think we should still pursue with casino gaming? Suzanne Ingham says no. WKD Lama says no. Judith Welch says no. The gaming industry has lost its influence. People are moving on, and so should we. Limestone Living says no. And, Ms. Ellen Kate Horton says, Jamal, don't you know it's not popular to speak out against the government? I don't know why. I've been doing it all my adult life, regardless of who the government is. Sean Smith says, I don't understand why the banking industry in Bermuda opposes casinos when their clearing houses are in the USA, where casinos are allowed. I think it's a bit deeper than that. I think it's jurisdiction size, and it may be harder to make money off of, because it all comes down to what you can make from it. All right, folks, let's give some thanks to Titan Express and Secure. Then we'll go to the news break with Teo, and then we've got our very special guest, Ray Lambert, coming up. Have you heard about the Urban Development and Action Plan, folks? Yeah, you want to hear about that, because this is not just about business. It's about housing. We keep talking about more people in Bermuda, but where would they live? Businesses, but where would they live? Where would they house them? Show us some love on social media, and we'll be back with our guests after the news break and the commercial break. Stick with us.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
All righty, let's go to Daily Hour News Break with Taylor Dill.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. From prescriptions to daily essentials, Peoples Pharmacies, where wellness begins and community grows together. Now, as promised yesterday during our news break, here's 3 issues that Bermuda's green paper on full CARICOM membership just doesn't mention. The paper definitely lays out potential benefits, trade access, regional cooperation, and political alignment, but there are 3 major questions that it barely touches. First, immigration and labor mobility. CARICOM's single market framework allows qualified nations to move and work across member states. So how would that interact with Bermuda's tightly controlled work permit system and small labor market? The government has made clear that they are not budging on this issue, but the fact that it's not even mentioned is at least noteworthy. Second, tax and regulatory alignment. Bermuda's economy is built on global insurance and reinsurance, but deeper CARICOM integration could eventually raise pressure for policy harmonization that conflicts with Bermuda's international business model. And third, sovereignty and governance. If Bermuda joins fully, how much policy influence would the island actually have inside a bloc dominated by much larger Caribbean states? Now, those are the questions that need clearer answers before Bermuda decides how far or how fast it moves towards CARICOM. And one of the least talked about impacts of the war involving Iran is actually hitting a key pillar of our economy, that is Bermuda's reinsurance industry. As tensions disrupt shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, war risk insurance premiums on tankers and cargo vessels have surged dramatically. Those policies are often backed by Bermudian reinsurers, which means that local companies could see hundreds of millions of dollars in new premium inflows if elevated risk pricing holds. But the flip side is exposure. If even a handful of large vessels were damaged or sunk, the claims flowing through global insurance layers could easily reach $1 to $3 billion, with Bermudian firms potentially responsible for hundreds of millions of that total, depending on their participation in the risk towers. So while the conflict's thousands of miles away, it's already reshaping underwriting decisions in Hamilton, and it could end up being either a major profit cycle or a costly claims event for Bermuda's insurance market. And a new parent-led movement's gaining traction in Bermuda, encouraging families to slow down when it comes to smartphones and social media. The group Smartphone Free Childhood Bermuda is asking parents to sign a pledge to delay giving kids smartphones until at least age 14, social media all the way until 16, arguing that it helps protect mental health, focus, and real-world friendships. What started as a small WhatsApp chat between concerned parents has already grown to more than 200 local families signing on since last month. Organizers say the goal is not banning technology, it's being intentional about when kids enter that world. The group's also hosting 2 info sessions at BHS on March 16th at 5:30 and March 19th at 12:30, with more information available at sfcbermuda.com. And interestingly, there have in fact been small groups of young people in the U.S. who straight up turned their back on smartphone use because of the harm they've experienced in their own lives. Here's what they have to say about it.
They're part of a small but growing group of Brooklyn students who formed the Luddite Club, named after a 19th century movement opposing industrialization.
During COVID, I kind of looked at my screen time and I was like, wow, I'm spending more than half of my time awake on my phone. Something needs to change.
One day, a student named Ava Dela Cruz showed her videos of her weekly gatherings with Luddite friends, a group she joined after she felt herself spiraling after the pandemic.
Bro, now I'm suddenly in high school and I'm about to be in college, and my life basically, I feel like it escaped me completely.
They have different interests, attend different schools, but share their commitment to kick their phone habit.
And one of Bermuda's most recognizable beaches just picked up some serious global bragging rights. Shout out to Tobacco Bay for earning the 13th best beach in the world ranking for this year from TripAdvisor based on reviews from travelers around the globe. The St. George's hotspot also landed second place in the North Caribbean, putting it among the region's top coastal destinations. Tobacco Bay CEO Denny O'Connor says the recognition reflects years of work, turning the beach into a vibrant year-round destination for both locals and visitors. And there's more coming. A proposed rooftop seating area planned for next year could soon offer panoramic views over the bay while showcasing one of Bermuda's most iconic stretches of coastline. And settled weather is likely to continue today, emphasis on today. We should get a bunch of sunshine for today with light to moderate southerly winds, occasionally swinging to the south-southeast and intensifying after sunset. Highs reach around 74 degrees Fahrenheit with an overnight low near 66. That said, we should get a few overnight showers, but don't worry, overall conditions for today remain largely calm and comfortable. One heads up though, the UV index is very high at 8, so sunscreen's definitely recommended if you're spending time outside. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Now back to the show.
Hey, Tay, thanks for that. Folks, is it me or is it getting hot sooner? Like it's been really warm lately. It's like almost like we're skipping spring and going to summer. You all know me, I'm cheap. Well, sorry, I'm frugal. But I turned my AC on yesterday. I did. I turned my AC on yesterday. So yeah, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's a sign of getting older. All right, days of the year. Here we go. Folks, we've got quite a few, but we're going to go through Popcorn Lovers Day. Audience, what is your favorite flavor of popcorn? Let me share this with you. So I haven't done it since I've lived in Atlanta, but I come from a family where we used to pop our own popcorn, right? My mother used to sell a popcorn. My cousin now does it at various joints throughout Bermuda, BIU gas station, Semi's popcorn. But obviously you all know, if you've tuned into the show, I don't use microwaves for anything, so that's not an option. But I love popcorn, so I would get Skinny Pop, stuff like that. Anyway, this week, I actually purchased, the kernel seeds, and gonna start popping my popcorn again, man. I got me some popcorn buckets. It's the healthiest, easiest, best snack. But what shocked me about it, I found out someone I know has never had freshly made popcorn. I'm like, never? Well, just at a fair or a festival, but no. I didn't understand. It reminded me of when my former barber said, what do you eat when you go to Bermuda? I was like, oh, mainly like fried fish. It's like from the ocean. I was like, yeah, fresh from the ocean. I said, yeah. And I was like, is this a privilege or something? And said, oh yeah, because I've never had fresh fish from the ocean. Those are privileges that I just think that some overlook. So, folks, my favorite flavor of popcorn is that veggie soul. Veggie soul on some fresh popcorn. Delicious. You know what I'm talking about. If you have good pop, because I make some world famous popcorn. Got the recipe from my mom. So if you never had my popcorn, you want to hit me up. All right, we've got moringa. Moringa. What's moringa on popcorn? You mean like the plant moringa that's good for blood pressure? Suzanne Ingham says moringa. What else, audience? Are there any other flavors of popcorn? We're going to take a quick break, and we will go to. We've got sea salt. Says Stacey Ann Brown loves sea salt. We've got caramel peanut. Says Renee Shallon. I always wondered. What was the thing called? Was it called Cracker Jacks back in the day? Do they still have that with the caramel on the popcorn? We've got. I recently saw a post showing Butterfinger popcorn. I want to try that Butterfinger popcorn. Interesting. See, I'm not a sweet guy with popcorn. I like salt and stuff. I like candy. Sea salt, fresh out of the pot. That's what I'm talking about. Straight out of the pot. All right, folks, let's take this quick break. We'll be back for our guest for the day. If you haven't already, make sure you share this conversation with your friends, family, and colleagues. We want to ensure that everyone at least knows where the Gaming Commission and casino gaming is in Bermuda. Like, if nothing else, we want people to know this, folks. So share this conversation with people so that they have access to know what's going on with their tax-paying dollars. All right? We'll be back in a few. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workbook for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carry Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
All right, welcome back to the big show, folks. I'm Jamel Hartman, and this is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Again, if you are streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, it costs you nothing. Just give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations as possible. Folks, I want to say this as well, or ask you, have you heard, yes or no, have you heard of the Urban Development Authority? Have you heard of the UDA, the Urban Development Authority? If you have, great. If you haven't, we're about to discuss it now, and you should know about it. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to our good friend. It's not his first time on the show, but we're happy to have him back from the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. We've got Ray Lambert. Oops. Okay. Ray, my apologies. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Jamal. That was a nice little kickoff. You even surprised me.
yeah, it happens like that sometimes. No offense.
Cool.
But first of all, thanks for stopping by. I gotta ask you, man. It's Popcorn Lovers Day. Do you eat popcorn?
I do. I enjoy local popcorn.
Off your head, just stop moving forward. If you could just sit
sorry.
back. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I enjoy local popcorn. You know, some days you just got a hankering for it, and you just got to stop. You know, popcorn for breakfast sometimes just to get my juices flowing while I'm reading the paper or checking out your show or those kinds of things. It's sometimes a good start, not just for the evening, but sometimes just to kind of get the juices flowing.
You know what's crazy? I'm glad you said that, because someone in the audience, 9/11 Island Girl, said popcorn's my favorite snack. Could eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Love popcorn with a little kick, spice, and sweet comfort. I was going to say, before you two, I was like, should I tell people I eat popcorn after the show sometimes? Like, I love popcorn, man. But Ray, thanks for joining us. It's been a while since we've had you. And I did ask the audience, have they heard of the Urban Development Authority? Traveling Trotty said yes. No, said Suzanne Ingham. No, said W. K. Lama. Renee Simmons said no. Nicole Walker said no. So before we even get into that, to explain or engage them in what the organization is and what it does, just tell the audience a bit about your background so they know who they're speaking to.
Sure. So I guess I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've you know, owned my own businesses since early days, you know, almost right out of college, and mostly in the marine field. I still do a lot of marine stuff, so boat charters and those kinds of things. But I reached a time in my life where I, as much as I enjoyed working for myself, the opportunity to work for BEDC came up. BEDC was one of those organizations that funded my first boat building business. I used to build boats, so you got there's a little Optimus that the kids sail, you see in Hamilton Harbor. We built this, and you know, quite proud to say, because we built like maybe about 120. Those things actually became the benchmark for youth sailing. So by us building those boats, we got a few Olympians that we can say that came through our program, and we helped develop. But that funding came from BEDC, and years later, the opportunity came up to work for BEDC, helping other entrepreneurs. So I did that for about, I think 10 years. And that was a really interesting opportunity. I did a lot of work in St. George's and the EEZ zones. I now work for BEDC as a consultant. So what I do is I'm back on the water full time, and I spend a lot of time working as a consultant on what is now the UDA. So
Wow.
the UDA, Urban Development Authority.
Yes, explain that, because like I said,
Sure.
quite a few people didn't know what it was. So for those who may not be familiar, even those who have heard the name, what is it, and what role does it play in Bermuda's economic landscape?
So, well, let's go back to BEDC, because the Urban Authority is a part of the BEDC. It's basically an offshoot. And it was, you know, most people know that the BEDC was founded to support entrepreneurs and support the economic development zones. So those zones being Somerset, St. George's, and Northeast Hamilton. Those areas need the most support. They all have challenges, and the BEDC are there to provide not just business support, but incentives for those who choose to operate in those areas as a means to revitalize. The Urban Development Authority was basically formed to focus specifically on infrastructure and development of those areas, and has been, it's been a few years. They've been in operation for the last, I think legislation was passed probably about four years ago, but for the last 2 years in particular, it's been ramping up. And so I joined the organization, or back with the organization, along with a team of a small team of 3 that we've been basically working on looking at some of the challenges of what would be considered larger scale infrastructure development. And at this stage in time, housing has been the primary need. And spending a lot of time looking at housing developments in the zones. You know, these zones have a lot of dilapidated properties and brownfield. You know, they've been used before. So most of the projects that we're looking at are projects which have been sitting there for many years. You know? And there's all kinds of reasons for that, right? Sometimes there are families that have large plots of land, but they have the capital to develop that in the way they want to. Sometimes it's government property. Sometimes the owners aren't even known. So a big part of our research in the last sort of year and change has been identifying those properties, about who owns them, having discussions with those owners, looking at the potential of those properties. Because again, this is more large scale stuff, right? The issues that we're facing, particularly with housing, is not just doing an apartment, which is certainly not a bad thing, right? If anybody wants to develop an apartment or two on their house, it's a good time to do it, because we know there's a huge housing shortage. And while housing is often seen as just an affordable housing problem, this problem goes right up the ladder. There are many executives who come to Bermuda and love the job, love the location, love the jurisdiction, but can't find accommodations to make it to make that decision. So it's become a scenario of development that's become a priority.
So just for clarity, though, the UDA, is it helping with commercial space or housing space for those?
So most of our properties, and that's a good question. So it's housing, but most of our areas that we're looking at are multi-use, right? So in the city, and that's been a big part of the push, right? We have 4 areas in the EZ. I mentioned Somerset, St. George's, and Northeast Hamilton. But a couple of years ago, legislation was passed to include Southeast Hamilton. So in all of those spaces, a lot of these properties would have commercial development on the lower levels, and then housing above. St. George is a perfect example. You'll see houses on the above most of those businesses. So basically, it's really about promoting both, in the sense that the properties are where they are, and many of them have business opportunity, whether it be offices or retail space that we also support. But instead of it just being, in some cases, a 2-story building, the real world challenge, particularly in a place like Bermuda, is we have limited land space. So the reality of building up is now something that is not just looking to happen, but it's happening. So in a lot of these properties that we're looking at, where you'd once see a 2-story and 3-story building, we're looking at how to do some of these where they go up as far as legislation will allow. Our goal is to, or our job is to consult with planning, with some of these landowners, with some of these developers, to see how we can not just push the envelope, but make sure it makes sense, right? Because we're not just building for our generation. Ray Jones, who's in our organization, says this all the time. We're building for the next generation. So, we have to really think about what Bermuda is going to look like in 30 or 40 years. And it's going up, right? And going up is how we do it, because we can't go out.
Yeah. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Ray about anything to do with the Urban Development Association Authority, please send your questions and comments in. Hopefully you've learned something, because I definitely have. Why do you think and we've seen it? I mean, I literally met with some nurses on one island last year, April, who were concerned that they couldn't find housing. They had only been in Bermuda 6 to 8 months, the both of them from different jurisdictions. Why is housing such an important component as it relates to entrepreneurship and Bermuda's long-term success in these zones in particular?
Well, revitalizing is one of our first goals, and each of those areas have been identified because those are oftentimes those areas that are overlooked, right? You can see what's happening on Front Street right now with Brookfield. Great to see that project on, because it's been a while to see a sizable project like that happening. But only a couple blocks away is Northeast Hamilton, which is now the awareness of it being still in the city, still an important part of revitalizing. People want to be close. Employers want to have staff close to their occupations, right? So whether it's international business, which is definitely a need, we have you mentioned it before, nurses and doctors. We have people in the construction industry. We have people, everyday people that are just looking for a place to live. So our products aren't to exclude Bermudians. By all means, first and foremost, we always look out for Bermudians first. But as we know that we have the need for, or the plan is for an increased population, we need to consider ways to develop those houses or those units for everybody. And not every project works for each location, right? So each one is assessed on its own merits, and we're there to support the landowners. We're there to we're sort of like a liaison. We're working with the owners of the properties and potential developers, as well as the local banks and now international opportunities for finance, which is really what the mixer is about that we were going to talk about.
And yes, let's talk about that. You're also hosting a mixer. What inspired this idea to have this event, and what are you hoping it will achieve with attendees?
So, as we mentioned, right, the UDA has been around for a little while, but we've been really trying to increase the awareness of not just what we're doing, but how we can help, right? So last May, we held our first bid summit. So the summit was basically an event that we put on. It was a one-day event that was to bring key stakeholders, landowners, developers, real estate, all those people in the same room to get a much better handle on some of the challenges we face. And that event was extremely successful in the sense of really getting people to talk, people getting to know one another. We're a small island, but it's not to be assumed that everybody knows everybody. And sometimes these opportunities of networking is the key factor to say, you know what, I'm interested in that area or that space. How can I help, or how can you help me? So after that event, we put on a couple other events. So a big part has been getting survey information. So we've been doing surveys and all that kind of stuff as well to identify the challenges of housing that we spoke of. We've done presentations to the IB, but the mixers, we did one in November that was on alternative housing. That was very successful as well. We can talk about that in a little bit, because it's not just building traditionally, it's now looking at alternative methods. So the event that we're doing this time is actually more on financing infrastructure projects. Some of our products work directly with local banks, but the reality of some of these challenges is that we can't just rely on the government to assist with all of these problems. We have to look at outside sources that are there, not just in the sense of lending, but certainly in the sense of investing. And this particular one is looking at some of those projects, and we're brought in two specialists to assist with at least letting people aware of how Bermuda could benefit from international financing, meaning using banks outside of Bermuda or matching potential investors with some of these projects, because as I say, it all can't happen internally, and international finance is the way of the world, but we need to understand it more, right? So it's taking some of those big deals that you hear about in places like Africa and whatnot, and making it make sense to how it could happen in Bermuda. So the guys that are coming down are here to kind of give some expertise on what finances, what financing from an overseas bank or an overseas organization looks like, obviously the scales of that, and how they can assist with Bermuda. So it's an exciting opportunity to hear more about financing as opposed to just regular debt financing through our local banks, and what is possible.
Where does it take place?
So this is going to be at Leopards Club. It's actually happening this evening from 5:30 to 7:30. We have two international guests that are coming down. A gentleman by the name of Connor Shine, who's he's a director at a company called Dalphos, who specialize in international financing, project financing and planning, and along with Eric Henderson, who founded a company. What's his company name? It's an interesting acronym. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Eric. I had it here somewhere. He's actually married to a Bermudian. So Eric he founded a company called XC BG International Group. So again, they're based in DC. He actually has he's married to Bermuda and has a local link. Oh, I'm sorry. He's married to Bermuda and has a local link and is very familiar with the island. So he's worked with a couple different organizations on, again, looking at some of Bermuda's challenges and seeing how he can help. So there's a couple deals that he's been working on and here to provide some expertise as to how that could happen for some of the projects that are around.
Love it. But for someone who may be curious about starting or expanding a business in a UDA area, what would you encourage them to do first?
Well, so the UDA areas are the same as the BEDC areas, right? So it really depends on what they're looking to do. If they're looking to expand their existing business, my first thing would be to make sure you have a meeting with one of the BEDC officers. They BEDC deal with everything from microloans right on up to guarantees for up to $300,000. So for those smaller projects, BEDC is that resource. For us, we're looking outside the box a little bit, and it's definitely much larger projects in the sense of the financial commitments that are needed. So in either case, I think that, for those who are looking to expand and grow, this will be an opportunity to see, what the limitations are from the bottom end, and the top is infinite, of course, but how that may be able to assist them where they think they need larger amounts of money and may not be able to get that through the local bank for whatever reasons.
Alrighty. Ray, just remind people, where can people go to learn more about the Urban Development Authority?
So we have a website. It's www.uda.bm.
All right.
And investing is our key focus right now, investing in Bermuda. And as I say, we've been ramping it up because the needs of the kinds of financing that we're looking to achieve are, the reality is now, right? When it comes to large scale housing, and this was something that I had to wrap my own head around as we've been researching this, you can almost say go today and it can take, 5 years to get some of these projects underway or get finished. So, there's a housing plan that's being worked on by Bermuda Housing Corporation that talks about, housing for the next 10 years that they're doing with affordable housing. One of the things that's key to us is recognizing that those are the low end, affordable housing projects that they see happening from end to end, but that doesn't necessarily include some of those projects that entrepreneurs have dealt with all along. In areas, some of those areas of desire, if you will, South Shore, near the beaches, those kinds of things. But now urban housing is key, as well as looking at the zones. So our specific interests are those properties within those EEZ zones and how to stimulate those particular projects.
All right, Ray, this has been helpful. The networking event, Leopards Club tonight, folks, go check it out. And also the website's beautiful as well, uda.bm. Check that out. Ray, let's make sure it's not another 5 years until your next time on the show.
Oh, no. I think you'll definitely hear more. As I mentioned, we did the first summit last year, and we're doing a second one this year coming up in May. It's May 6th and 7th at Hamilton Princess. So that's going to be a really, really key event for again, putting together some of these networking opportunities and understanding the bigger picture, right? The bigger picture is you're going to see projects starting to go up. Now, this is not to this shouldn't be looked at as not making our island look good. We're very conscious of the fact that Bermuda has some really good techniques that we use. Traditional Bermuda houses is one that some of the islands in the Caribbean wish they had, particularly when it blows like we know the hurricanes can make happen. So we're making sure that we're looking at quality development. So when it gets into modular stuff and those kinds of things, the technology has now got to a point where it's actually more cost effective.
Indeed.
No matter where you build in Bermuda, whether it's Tuckerstown or Middletown, we're at $800 to $1,200 a square foot,
Mhm.
which is insane compared to most places around the world. So it's so many different pieces to the puzzle of why we're doing what we're doing. We just hope that we can help those that are in need of assistance, or those that may not think they're in need of assistance, but
Yeah.
have larger scale properties that are trying to figure out how to develop them.
Indeed. Well, this has been helpful, Ray. Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion, and all the best with the mixer tonight. And hopefully we'll be getting some info on the summit coming up in May. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you very much, and you have a wonderful day as well.
All right, Ray Lambert, BEDC Urban Development Authority. Folks, if you appreciated the discussion, give us a thumbs up, love, like, make sure you share the convo with your friends, family, colleagues. Now, a lot of these no's that we had from Suzanne, WKD Lama, Renee, Sherilyn, and Nicole Walker, hopefully those are yeses. We're going to take a final break. Do not go anywhere. We're going to test your knowledge. So name that place today. Well, kind of, sort of. Stick with us.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BEDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BEDC, Bermuda business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazog Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
The Office of Consumer Affairs protects residents by promoting fairness, safety, and transparency in the marketplace across the island. We investigate complaints, manage recalls, educate the public, and enforce consumer protection laws to ensure fair treatment for all. Our team supports consumers by resolving disputes, providing guidance, and helping residents understand their rights and responsibilities. We work with businesses to encourage compliance, ethical practices, and trust, helping create a stable and competitive economy. Through education, enforcement, and outreach, Consumer Affairs helps keep Bermuda's marketplace safe, informed, and accountable.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for rocking with us this morning. Thanks again to Ray Lambert and BDC Urban Development Authority. This was a We Mean Business episode and segment. Hopefully, you all got a lot out of that and learned some new things. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5, ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, if you haven't already and you're streaming with us, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, and your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at various stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? This is not a Bermuda trivia question, but it's a somewhat place geography question. Landmark question. Audience, what is Japan's highest mountain? Jewel Eve, you are on the money. It is Mount Fuji. Stacey Ann Brown, of course, also got it. Yes, it's Mount Fuji. You are correct. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. As far as the discussion this morning, look, man, this gaming commission thing, I really hope that people begin to ask questions, and the right question. It's not complaining to want to know. It's not complaining to want to know how your tax-paying dollars are being spent. We cannot continue to throw money away. You need to start asking for analysis of what the money is going to, what problem is it solving, what gap is it filling. I'm just shocked that more people are not having these discussions. As far as the conversation with Ray Lambert, very interesting. Urban Development Authority. Very interesting conversation, but addressing needs within our community. We do have a housing problem. You can't really have new businesses and new people to work in these businesses without anywhere to live. I like the idea of businesses having homes on top of them. I know there are units in the United States, for instance, people are, they'll build these apartment buildings and then they'll have retail spaces. That's what I was running through my mind as I was listening to Ray speak. Making, as he mentioned, multi-use properties for commercial and residential. Probably where we need to head with all of this. Makes sense to me. All right, folks, let me give you some daily inspiration before you head out. And I'll just give you something that applies to yesterday's discussion. And I replied to someone who probably didn't quite understand the purpose of yesterday's conversation. And if you missed it, we're talking about charity versus empowerment. It's a quote from Dr. King. Says philanthropy is commendable, but it must not cause the philanthropist to overlook the circumstances of economic injustice which make philanthropy necessary. Do with that what you will, but you heard how I feel already. Folks, please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring we can pump through the radio areas with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.